Buenas, ¿cómo estamos? Hoy día me ocurre algo muy... Aló, aló, estaba teniendo unas fallas técnicas, a ver, espero que no se haya notado, no me habrá quedado, no me habrá creado dos directos, no sé, baja, voy a echar un mirror tiro, me pueden ir sapeando. Y, por ejemplo, ya a las 3 iba a ser, o a las 3 horas chilenas, y en España a las 7 si no me equivoco, no disculpe. Y estaba atento, pues estaba viendo aquí el Twitter, pero todavía no pasa nada, o sea, no pasa nada todavía, o sea, ni en Twitter anuncian todavía nada. Debe estar preparando para que salga, va a haber que estar ahí ajustando el asunto y estar esperando que ya para el momento. Pues me imagino. A ver esto aquí, a ver. Ah, ya, se mantuvo por lo menos, eso es lo importante. Se mantuvo. Y, ¿cómo se llama esto? Hay gente que... Voy a poner un poquito de musiquita, weón. Voy a poner la misma del login este. Pero que no sea tan molesta para el YouTube. A ver, que no suene más despacio que mi voz, po, weón. A ver, por ahí sí, pero sí está bien. Y. ¿Cómo se llama esto? El único leak, o sea, o como idea de lo que. O sea, hay muchas ideas realmente, pero lo único así como imagen, evidencia de algo supuesto que iba a salir. Es esta imagen que se la voy a compartir contigo. Captura. Y. Ventana. A ver, esta cuestión es. Esa imagen. Disculpen cómo se ve, pero bueno. Que supuestamente dicen que es un supuesto leak de lo que quizás se podría ir a ver aquí en el anuncio. Y entonces, bájalo un poquito más, un momento. Aquí es supuestamente un CGI de Raganorte. Si pueden fijar el hielo, todo. Me parece que ese debe ser quizás la rama o quizás llegó algo ahí, no sé. No sé si llegará a hacer esto al final si la filtración fue real o no. Así que vamos a estar atentos. Eh, Muchos creen que, porque íbamos, nombraban estos locos la zona de Zereth Mortis, algo así. A Zereth Mortis, a buscarlo. Zereth Mortis, parece que era así. Zereth Mortis. Sí. A ver, bueno, aquí cuando se fue este loquito el que hablaba de esa weá, porque están los diálogos, no están en inglés. Y todos dicen que parece que lo más probable sea el mismo Azeroth. Mismo Azeroth. Quedamos al final en que se fue aquí. Ahora vamos a ver qué es lo que ocurre con lo que anuncia Blizzard. Carcelero con Andrew a cambiar la regla del universo. Y aquí no hablan sobre esa zona, pues Zereth Mortis. También esta loquita, la de Mercado Velado. Si no me equivoco, cuando tú la enfrentas, está usando poderes de los primeros. Ahí se fijan esto como medio dorado y todo esto. Se fijan el portal. Yo estaba, o sea, en mis teorías sí pensando en mí mismo, sí, en lo que yo como que analizo. Y una vez fui hace como unos meses a una de estos viajes, o sea, no, estos viajes, ¿cómo se llama esto? ¿Cómo esta weá de los... Ah, aquí está, bueno. A ver, full video. Pero esta weá es como un anuncio. Ah, como el trailer. Así se va a llamar. Eternos... Ya hablan eternos finales, los eternos finales, algo así. A ver, aquí está la noticia. Uy, acá, bro. Pongámonos aquí. A ver, vamos a verlo al tiro. Vamos a darle play. Vamos a tirar acá, agrandar. Calidad, sí, eso está bien. Está bueno.
The Shadowlands story pulls together threads that started in Warcraft 3 and wove their way through many
Bueno,
of our
está mostrando toda la
expansions. We approached it like
cinemática. Ah, pero aquí
a
están
drama
hablando.
in 3 acts. Now, as the
Debería
third
escucharlo
and
realmente,
final
pero voy a
act
cambiar
begins,
el. Esperar un poco. Que tengo aquí configurado esta cuestión, pero tengo que escucharlo porque lo tenía para que usted no me lo escuche, no. Voy a poner pausa a la música. Y ahora sí. Ah, espera, y el OBS. El OBS tiene que sonar esta weá. Propiedades. Que lo tenía. Estaba probando esto de los filtros porque andaba en otra cosa. Entonces, por eso.
jailer from reaching his ultimate goal, which is to rewrite the rules of reality. Eternity's End serves as the final chapter of one book of the Warcraft saga.
Tiene subtítulos.
The jailer has the advantage. He has seized the sigils of the leaders of the Four Covenants.
We see Sylvanas realize that she's been a pawn in the jailer's game this entire time, and she refuses to serve him, and she's taken prisoner.
The jailer is able to open a portal to who knows where, taking Anduin with him.
And the Primus had us take some time to retrieve some new sigils.
Now we have gathered our forces. We are working with the Primus to open our own gateway to pursue the jailer to this realm unlike any we've seen before.
Mortis.
The Primus opens a portal, and we come into this alien land. It's completely white, foggy, we're walking on water for some reason.
They can only make out some shapes, some figures there, some crazy devices and consoles.
Yeah.
Eventually, you make your way to a
Regresaron,
giant
¿cierto?
gate, and behind it,
Espera, que tengo que mutear
Sí.
esto. Espera, tengo que mutear esto. Espera un poco.
Y regresaron primero que yo, porque más encima tuve problemas, así que siempre hay una emergencia.
Y ahora sí. Estaban dando nota por eso. Y nos está
By
mostrando
Zereth
Zereth Mortis. ¿Cómo es?
Zereth Mortis was created by the first ones, and it is
Fue
intended
creado por
to
los
create
primeros y
afterlives.
Think of it as being tucked away in the fabric of the Shadowlands itself. It's kind of the behind the scenes of these afterlives that we've journeyed to.
It's the land where the progenitors, the first ones who created all of the realms of the Shadowlands, this is their workshop.
they've created everything we've experienced in Azeroth and Shadowlands, and even realms we haven't discovered yet.
These first ones built the universe
parece como un lugar así donde surgieron todas las cosas, una cosa así, bo.
as far as we know, but their intentions or methods are completely unknown.
But of course, the jailer's presence here is disrupting this process. And we're working to push back against the jailer's forces and protect this place.
Disculpen si yo no entiendo mucho inglés, que
I think the artists
estoy
have done
tratando
a
de entender con la
fantastic job,
imagen y
and I
algunas
know they've
palabras
done a
que
lot of
sé.
research, and they looked
Pero
at
están
a lot of
explicando
real-life
cómo
examples
lo
of very
trabajaron,
strange
cómo lo
places in the
llevaron
real world.
y lo que
As a
quisieron
team, we
transmitir
were really trying to make
con
this
el-
place
todo lo
as
que
alien as
con
possible.
la zona
So
adquisición.
we really wanted to make everything feel completely unique and completely different. Our trees here are floating, we have stones that are floating, we even have the massive Forge of Afterlives that is floating in the center of the zone.
And true to its name, it's something that is kind of putting together a new afterlife to be sent out into the Shadowlands.
We have this water all around you because water is really the catalyst for any kind of creation.
It's actually unlike any other water that we've seen before. This is actually water that we can walk on. It almost creates like a threshold between Zereth Mortis and some other kind of more primordial space right below it. Everything you see in Zereth Mortis has a purpose, an intention behind it. For us, it was really important to find ways to convey that intention in the environment itself. And one of the ways in which we did it was through this duality between a lush and a dry biome. In the dry biome, we see perhaps what the original
Que no sé
growth
si
of the zone
eso
was when
vieron el
the progenitors
carcelero.
were first establishing this workspace for themselves. And in the lush biome, we see
Son los que
the
envió el
results of
carcelero,
their
que él
experimentation
viajó
with
acá.
plant life and fauna and things like that.
Oh,
These
esto es
are
el lugar
all test beds for
de
what
donde
we'll
surgieron
eventually
todas
see
las cosas.
elsewhere.
Y como que se ven ahí en ese lugar. Esa es la duda que tengo.
From there, we
Me
started
habla de las
thinking about what
criaturas.
kinds of creatures would be in this place that are fundamentally prototypes. There's terraforming here. There's creatures that are building afterlives. We tried to really stretch and think what that might be like.
My personal favorite includes the giant armored snail, and we also have a progenitor chicken, which answers the question of what came first.
These first ones who crafted Zereth Mortis, what they left behind were the automa, meant to take care of the place and make sure that it fulfilled its function to create afterlives.
The automa have several different classes, and you can see this in their silhouettes. We have the builders, we have the protectors, we have the casters, and each one of them have a specific role within the Shadowlands. And then you'll also discover the Jiro, which are a part of the automa. They're a little more quirky, they have a little more personality. They are a little more sentient than the other automa, so some of them even split off to pursue their own desires.
Unfortunately, when we found our way in, Devourers also found their way in. They are ravenous.
They're consuming this weird energy, and it's causing them to mutate and to fall apart.
And the automa, where they are confronted by them, some of them are fighting them off.
And so it's going to take some time for them to understand that we're here trying to help them drive out this threat. Fortunately, we've got some allies. There are some enlightened brokers here that we're going to be working with.
But it's a broker that arrived here quite a long time ago and has had a change of heart from looking at the world as a very transactional place to seeing this place as a holy place, a sacred place. We meet an enlightened one named Fareem, and Fareem needs our assistance, and in return he leads us to Haven,
which is a hub that has been created out of progenitor ruins, and this is where the enlightened really have made their home.
Haven serves as our foothold here, as well as use it as a base of operations and really start unlocking the mysteries of this land.
The enlightened brokers are intent on protecting and preserving the work of the first ones here, but now they're seeing Zovaal bring his forces against the automa and tear up the land, and they are eager for assistance.
The brokers themselves are very ostentatious, they're very into materialism, but the enlightened are not that at all. They have relinquished this material way, and you'll see this reflected in their clothes. They're a little tattered, they're a little faded, because it just isn't important to them anymore. They're just here for the pursuit of knowledge.
Es como si fueran los que cuidan, los que guardan.
When players arrive,
trabajan ahí.
they're kind of fishes out of water. And one of the
Que
first
dejaron
things
los
that we have
primeros.
to do is start learning how to communicate with the automa. Think of it as a kind of runic language, based in symbols.
We will bond with a small construct who's pretty cute, actually. And with his assistance and the assistance of Fareem, we will learn eventually how to understand the symbols through the cipher of the first ones.
We'll uncover different parts of this alphabet and start to learn more about the progenitors and Zereth Mortis itself.
It will allow you to unlock new and different forms of content. So that can range from daily quests to new options on the vendors to places to explore and new side quests that open up. So it's really the gateway to exploring the far reaches of Zereth Mortis.
As we looked into the
Lola la
development
rareza
of
de
Cipher
Zereth
of the
Mortis,
first
algo
ones,
así.
we wanted something that was unique that players haven't seen before. A little bit of familiarity, but something that takes that to the next level.
We really involved the whole team in this creative process. We worked with our UI team to be able to represent those through text, through these things talking and seeing them on screen in chat bubbles and in our chat window. Little by little, these kind of runes start taking shape into words that we recognize. But it's going to be a process that unfolds over the course of playing through Eternity's End. The automa speak in this kind of musical language. They don't talk the way that we mortals are used to speaking. The sound team was super excited. They jumped in, they started prototyping all kinds of different sounds. We listened, we gave feedback. And we really ended up in a cool place. As you're playing through and gradually unlocking the language, you'll be able to see those words. that
Bueno,
they're
quizá no
saying,
pesque mucho porque
still
igual
hear
el inglés no
those
sé
tones.
mucho hacia joder, pero bueno. Sepulcro de los primeros.
The jailer's true goal has never really been to escape the maw or to gain power. He's been focused on reaching this place called the Sepulchre, to go into this place of power and to really rewrite the rules of the universe. We'll learn that the jailer has breached the Sepulchre of the first ones, and this becomes our new raid for Eternity's End. We're going to gather our forces, we're going to pursue the jailer inside. Once you go inside the Sepulchre, there's some mind-blowing visuals. This is a place that should not be able to exist according to the laws of physics as we know them on Azeroth. Just looking out into this impossible sky of seeing these ancient works of the first ones, those laws don't apply to anything we see here.
Among the bosses that we're going to face in Sepulchre of the First Ones include the Jailer's Forces, maybe a Dreadlord or two that you haven't tied up loose ends with. We'll face a Consular. This is similar to a being like Algalon, but the Jailer's gotten to it and has infused his domination magic into the Consular. Before we get to the Jailer, however, we need to get to Anduin first. Our hope is that we can learn whatever Anduin knows about domination
Contra
magic.
Anduin, what the
We need
fuck?
to be able to resist it, or better yet, fight it.
We know players have been waiting a long time for the return of tier sets, and as devs, we have too.
Todo eso es
It's a
manejado
great
por la
blend
magia de
of
dominación.
progenitor magic, golds, and metals, along with those
Están
class-defining
los
silhouettes.
sets de clase.
Wolves for shamans, pointy things for rogues. It's going to look amazing.
Our class and combat team was super excited to bring class sets back. This is something that felt really right for the story. We're in the final act of the Shadowlands saga. We're here literally on the brink at eternity's end. And what better place to fully unleash the power of these classes? And I think players will really enjoy the return of those class sets just as much as the team enjoyed making them.
Que te va a hacer como los tier de antes,
How
po,
do you make
para poder
something
enchular
that is
mejor tu clase como a ti te
mystical
gusta.
and magical and incomprehensible and yet understandable? I think
Te
we've
dar
done a
esa
good
sensación
job
de
of finding that line.
The team as a whole has been working so hard, and we are so excited to get this out for everyone.
We're gonna get new mounts, new pets.
Un
A bit
trabajo
horrifying
fuerte,
for me,
exigente
but
para
exciting
todos.
for some
Bueno,
is the fact that, you know, some of the spider mounts can now fly. Who needs flying spiders? But that's also going to be a cool thing for people.
We have updates to professions, to soulbinds, to conduits. There's a new dancing minigame in Darkmoon Fair.
I'm a story guy, so I'm super geeked about watching players kind of piece together those little lore tidbits. That's what excites me as well.
I'm really looking forward to Season 3 of Mythic Plus. Tazavesh is getting split
La
into
Season
2
3,
dungeons.
hacer
If
estos
you're a
míticos,
raider,
la-
if you chase Keystone Master, if you're an achievement collector, there's something for everyone to do in this.
Shadowlands is like the final chapter of one book of the Warcraft saga, and our team is already hard at work on the next stories to come. Can't talk about them quite yet, but when the time is right, we're going to be really excited to share them with you.
que era el fin de una saga de Warcraft. Interesante, bueno, aquí van a ver todo lo que a veces pongo música y, al final no fue nada. Ya, jeje, eso, jeje. Pero la zona la encontré algo siguiendo la temática que llevamos viendo. No está mal, se ve bien, está bien hecho. Yo pensaba esperar algo más épico en eso. Bueno, no sé, esto será solamente una de las características del in-game. Bueno, como quizás no será sacar una cinemática o algo. Lo mostraron ahí el arte que hicieron, las criaturas, la historia un poco, lo resumieron. El sistema que vamos a utilizar de las runas, de la magia de dominación, creo que con un sistema nuevo, como cuando saltaba la cerita, el collar de Zereth y después sacaron la esencia, algo así. Me imagino algo así, pero no, como yo no entiendo mucho inglés, no sé realmente cómo va a ser trabajado eso, cómo lo voy a ir haciendo. Pero no se ve mal. A mí me gusta por lo menos esas cosas de enchular harto la clase y todo ese tipo de cosas. Después fue mostrando ahí igual dijeron algunas cosas de lo que planea el carcelero. Es que no sé, lo voy diciendo así muy buen encima porque yo igual no, no sé mucho inglés, a lo que llegué a entender. También al último, que era el final de una saga de Warcraft. Todo este asunto. Interesante porque quizá algo de igual decía ahí al último, mira, a ver.
Conduits. There's a new
O sea, igual
dancing
nuevo
minigame in
danza,
Darkmoon Fair.
I'm a story guy, so I like the players.
minijuegos,
That line.
todo se actualiza,
We're gonna get
cosas
new
por hacer, nuevas
mounts, a new
monturas,
pet.
pet. Uy, ¿qué le digo? Ya lo manda el link original. Lo típico, pues.
A bit horrifying for can now fly.
Yeah,
Who
spider
needs
more.
flying spiders? But that's also going to be a cool thing for people.
We have updates to professions, to
Las de
soulbinds, to conduits.
profesiones, los
Watching players
conductos,
kind of piece
verán, player. Esto parece que el
together
sistema,
those
el
little
sistema
lore
que van a
tidbits.
implementar.
That's what excites me as well.
I'm really looking forward to season 3 of
La
Myth.
nueva
Plus,
season de
Tazavesh is getting
PvP,
split into
PvP,
2 dungeons. If you're a
la mega
ranger,
mazmorra
if you
en
chase
mítico,
Keystone
la
Master, if
raid.
you're an achievement collector, there's something for everyone to do in this.
Shadowlands is like the final
Shadowland me gusta. Es el final,
chapter
es
of
el
one
capítulo
book of
final de un libro de World of Warcraft, de la World of Warcraft saga.
the Warcraft saga. And our team is already hard
Y el grupo está listo para un trabajo arduo, así difícil, para las siguientes historias que vendrán.
at work on the next stories to come. Can't talk about them quite yet.
Aquí me perdí un poco.
When the time is right,
Aquí me perdí
I'm
un
going to be
poco.
really excited
Y lo comparto con todos, con ustedes.
to share them.
Entonces, como que dijo que es algo muy excitante, que le agrada mucho, que le gusta y se lo comparte con nosotros. Sí. Igual podría ir viendo uno por uno, pero sería muy largo el directo, aparte tengo poco tiempo. Vamos a ver si, a ver, bueno, aquí está toda la descripción. Quizás después traiga algún video, vamos si subieron alguna otra cosita. Sí, está bien, no sabemos a todos si les va a gustar igual. Pensé que iba a ser en directo. Bueno, no sé si será una parte, después mostrar más. Bueno, lo voy a dejar hasta aquí. Si sale algo más, quizás voy a sacar un video o quizás hacer otro directo y vamos a ir viendo. Así que eso, muchas gracias por haber visto el video. Nos vemos, o sea, el directo, nos vemos.
The jailer